Hi everyone, welcome back to Dwarf Fortress and the Brightmines. I am Sir Tristan. The Brightmines is the name of our fort, or the name of this this town that we're going to be starting, and the Blameless Banner is the name of our group. The story I've made up in my head is that we were expelled from our kingdom for crimes we did not commit, and we were told to go out. We were exiled, basically. So, that's not in the lore or anything, but that's just the story I've made up for myself. And now our 7 dwarves have embarked in their new home. And the first thing I always like to do is just kind of look around. So I'm just going to use the arrow keys to kind of look around. I have my ocean up here at the top. If I unpause it, the water should flow. No? It's not. Well, it's a lot of fish. Look at all those fish. Wow. So normally there's waves and things, but for some reason I may be looking underground here. So the first thing I always like to do when looking at a new fort is just kind of get my bearings. Looking around. You do that with arrow keys. Remember, you can always follow what I'm doing in the bottom left corner. Use a program called KeyCast OW, and it just kind of displays my keys in the corner. Let me move my timer out of the way a little bit so I can see. There we go. Alright, so there's my group. I am looks like the plane I'm looking at now is straight 0. Let's go down. Yeah, straight 0. Cool. So the first thing I'm going to do, I think, is use the mouse wheel. I don't actually know what the key commands are, but I'm going to zoom out just so I can see the entire embark point. So here you go. It's just a straight up square here, which I'm outlining with my mouse. There you go. You can kind of see the whole map. So if you remember, Dwarf Fortress is a 3D game, but you only see 2 dimensions at a time. You kind of think of it like layers of a cake. You can only see 1 layer at a time, so you kind of have to manually go up and down. The way you do that, at least by default, you can change key bindings if you want to, but the way you do that is you hold shift and you do comma and the period key. So that's up a layer. You can see kind of the branches of all these trees. And if I go up again, you can see more branches. And if I continue to go up, we kind of get up above the trees, and now we're just in empty space. So I'll go back down now. That's shift period. You can go down. There's some branches. There's my dwarves level again, and we'll go down one more time. And what you're kind of seeing here is underground, which is where all the black space is, and then tree trunks, which are kind of these brownish areas here, and then water in different lakes and ponds, and there's the river down there. So it does look like that's where the river is, or the ocean is, up here, but for some reason it doesn't flow like you would think a ocean would. So perhaps that's like a sheer cliff. Let's actually do this. I'm gonna hit K, and K is your general look around key. And you can see the X right here. And in look mode, basically whatever your yellow X is on will appear over here in the upper right corner. So for instance, right here, I'm looking at strawberry plants. And, let me zoom in. Actually, I'm going to zoom in. Was that the default? Something in there was default. Alright, so you can see my X up here. I'm looking at driftwood. Now I'm looking at shale. This is just kind of a shale beach, it seems. Wet black sand. Alright, so we're going to go up. We're going to look and see what this ocean... This is open space. Okay. This is open space, and I have open space here. So let me actually go down a level. Alright, here we go. So here's actually where the salt water starts. And here's a damp black stone wall. So it actually, that's what it looks like to me. This is actually a cliff face that we are on. So we're not actually on a beach. We are actually 1 level above. Well, actually, let's go down a level and see. Unpaused it, you pause, and, oh no, hit escape, and then space. Pause and unpause by hitting space. There's all the fish moving around. Yeah, so it looks like this right here, this whole line, where my mouse cursor is a sheer cliff wall. So that's kind of cool. There's not really any chance, I don't think, of me getting pulled in by waves or fish or evil sea creatures or whatever's out there to come at me based on water. So that's actually pretty good. That's pretty cool. And then I have the river right here. Like I said, on my doors. So that's kind of zoom out again. That's kind of what my area is going to look like. I have just two layers total of land. So I have this base layer at 0, and then this layer, at 1. Yeah, that's a +1. Yeah, and that's just the pluses, and you can see them way up here. It's kind of small and hard to see in the upper right corner. That's just like how far you are from 0, which is like the default layer, basically. So this layer is 0. The layer that all my doors are on is +1, and then this one is +2. So it looks like +1 and +2 are the only actual surface layers. That's actually kind of good for defense, actually. There's not like a giant mountain that enemies, when they come and enter, they can like shoot down at me or anything like that. So that's actually pretty good. As long as I build up my walls correctly, I don't think I'll have too much of a problem. So let's go back to the default, and we will zoom back in. Play about like there. Let's keep looking around with K. Here we go. So all these circles here that you're kind of seeing on the map, I'm covering one up right now. These are going to be trees, and if I go up a layer, you can kind of see, oh yeah, sure enough, there's branches of the trees right where my X is, which is right there. So each one of these is trees, but they're all going to be different types. So this is a birch tree. This one's actually a peach tree, and a bayberry tree, and a peach tree, almond, peach, lots of peach trees. I sure hope my dwarves like peaches, because I think I'm going to be getting a lot. An alder tree, maple, alder. So lots and lots of, I'm holding shift, by the way, to move this pointer quickly. If you just hit left, right, up, down, arrow keys, you just move 1. If you hold shift, you move like 10. So I'm just kind of looking around, lots of trees. I don't want to chop down too many, I don't think, because that might make the elves mad. Oh no, my elves are not, I don't have any neighbors. I don't have any elves for neighbors, so I actually don't think I'm going to be getting visited by them. We'll see. If not, I'm going to strip this whole thing bare, I guarantee you. Except for maybe the peach trees, because that's a free source of food. Cool, I think I've kind of seen everything I need to see, and I want to see. Let's take stock of what we actually have and brought with us. Well, actually, one thing first. If you hit, let's hit escape to go back to kind of the default view. If you hit tab, you'll kind of cycle through different views for Dwarf Fortress. So the main view on the left here is what you've seen and have seen for the whole episode so far. And then on the right is kind of an overview. And I don't typically look at that too much. I don't find that too helpful once I've kind of memorized what the map looks like. If you hit tab again, you get a list of all the different options and things you can do. The interface for Dwarf Fortress is not very new player friendly, but it does do a pretty decent job of showing you everything you kind of need to see. And so for the most part, that's kind of everything I can do here. And we'll go over those later as I need them. But you can continue to hit tab as I'm doing here, just to kind of scroll through everything that you need. I think what I will do is I'll actually leave that up by default, just so that we can kind of remember and quickly reference the things over on the right. So the thing that I want to do here is take stock of what I've brought with me and what I can see on the map. So the key that I want here is status, which is Z. So I press Z for status, and here you go. You can see here's a quick and dirty view of everything that I have and that I brought with me. Created wealth, I have no idea, because I need a broker with an appraisal skill. Trade information, no idea. Need a broker with an appraisal skill. My food stores, I don't know exactly how many. I have about 200, about 50 meat, about 40 fish, about 30 plants, about 50 seeds, and about 40 drink. These numbers are not specific because I don't know. I don't have an accountant person, basically, sitting down and counting what I have. And until I do that, which I'll do fairly early on, because I actually really like knowing the exact numbers. But until that happens, I won't actually know, and it's not super important for the very beginning. I have 2 miners, a woodworker, a stoneworker, a noble/admin, and 2 farmers and 10 animals that I brought. Don't worry too much about these here. These are going to be changing, and these are just kind of the designations that the game gives them. It's kind of hard to see here, but animals is highlighted. I can press enter here, and I can see the animals that I brought with me. 2 dogs, 2 cats. Actually, looks like a cat and a kitten. Didn't mean to do that, but hen and a rooster, 2 geese, a geese and a gander, and then a water buffalo, bull, and a donkey. These 2 I didn't actually buy in when I was preparing for the journey carefully, but whenever you arrive, your wagon is pulled by 2 larger animals. So I have 2 by default. These unfortunately cannot breed with each other, and they're both male anyway, but I'll hold them in case I can find some in the future, and then I can start breeding them for food and other things like that. So I hit escape, and we can go over to the right and press enter to see our kitchen. All we know is we have about 30 plump helmets for vegetables, fruits, and leaves, and again I can press over to the right. Nope. Tab. UI inconsistency, but you can hit tab here to kind of scroll through these options up here. Drinks, we kind of know. Fish and other things we kind of know. Remember, we brought a lot, but we brought one of everything, or one of a bunch of things, because that's going to provide free barrels for us. So that's that. We'll go over to stone. Stone we know nothing about right now, because we only know what these are when we dig down into the dirt. Actually, it looks like we have one that we've seen. Marble. So apparently we've seen marble. There's maybe marble stones laying around here somewhere. But that's actually pretty good, because marble is a flux stone, and with that you can actually see over here, make steel bars, make pig iron bars. So marble's going to be quite good to make steel, which I can use to make very good weapons and armor. And then I go over here for stocks. This is a giant list of literally everything. And it's all going to be question marks for now, unless it's just a few, like you can see here, cloth and thread is actually 5, because anything less than 10 you kind of know by default, because you can look at a pile of 3 things and be like, yeah, that's 3. But if I look at a pile of 36 plump helmet seeds, you're like, I have no idea, that's like about 30, right? So that kind of makes sense. So that's kind of what I've brought with me, which is great. Next button I want to press is U. The U key, which if you come over here, you can see, where is U in this list? Here you go, U, the unit list. Press U. Here you can see a list of everything that breaks down into citizens, pets, livestock, others, people that have gone dead or missing. We know what we have. Sure enough, if you remember in the first episode, I made Mezuth Moriul, whatever, my expedition leader. I have a planter, which he's not really a planter. I'm pretty sure this is my brewer and my cook. Here's my farmer. I'll look into their actual skills here later on, but a farmer, a mason, a woodworker, and a carpenter, and then my 2 miners. Now, I did say in the first episode, not out loud, but I put it in the comments, if you want dwarves named after you, and if you want them to have a specific job, like a job you see in this list, please let me know. Please let me know. I have 2 so far, so there's still 5 open for now. There's definitely going to be a lot more as I get new dwarves, but for now I think I'm going to go ahead and name 2. Let's actually look. I have a list of names. Where are they? Here we go. I've got the 2 names, so I think we will make our expedition leader. I'll tell you what, let's actually go. Let's do this the good way. I have the lazy new pack open. I've got it open to the utilities tab. Let's go ahead and run Dwarf Therapist. Dwarf Therapist, you can see the tooltip there. It makes managing your dwarves' jobs and psychology easy. So let's go ahead and run that program. Hopefully it will pop up correctly. You don't need this to play Dwarf Fortress, but oh, it popped up in the wrong window. Let me pull it over. There we go. It's already got my game loaded in. This looks a little intimidating perhaps, but the basics you need to know for now is that your dwarves are over here on the left, and then all their skills that they can have are up here at the top. And I'm not going to get into Dwarf Therapist too much right now. I'm just going to use it to rename people. So I've got it loaded in. I'm going to right click on Mezuth my expedition leader, and we're going to set a nickname. So the first nickname we're going to do is the first guy who requested a name, Christian. So Christian, the expedition leader, and as you can see, it didn't change it here, but it actually set up a name on the right to be committed to the game. So it won't actually happen until I hit commit up here at the top. So that's the first name. Let's actually jump back into the game and look at our profession. So here's going to be Christian. Let's make one of our miners. Let's make Cole Alathastus test my second character, or the second name. So where is he? Here's Cole. We're going to right click, set the name to be Remix. Let's see. Is there a way that I can I would it, apologies for changing your name, but that's a little hard for me to say. So let's see. Can we do? Actually, let me look at the thread. Yeah. Okay. So he actually said it, or Ryan. So let's actually do Ryan. So that'll be our miner. So we have Christian, our expedition leader, Ryan, our miner, and then there's a bunch of other names as well, or a bunch of other dwarves for a bunch of other dwarves that need names. So if you want to get your name into the game, please let me know. So we have two. I just hit commit at the top, and now you can see on the left we have Christian and Ryan, and their names are in parentheses. And if I go back to the game, there, sure enough, you got Ryan Alathast and Christian Morulurteteth, expedition leader. We'll go more into Dwarf Therapist later on. Now let's go back to the unit list with you. We've got our 7 citizens, and you can see I'm going to hit to the right. Yeah, can I use tab? I can't use tab here, so I got to use left and right. Again, UI inconsistencies are going to be weird throughout. It's just stuff to learn. I'm going to forget a lot, so you're going to see me kind of stumbling through, clicking keys, trying to figure things out. We got our pets, as we know here. Here are some other things. Other is pretty much anything else that's really not hostile, but is out there. So we have an osprey and 2 sturgeons. We can press, it is, I think, Z to go to the unit. Yeah, Z. You can actually see it actually put us up on layer 16. So this is a bird flying through the air. Also put us into look mode. Remember the K, look mode with K? It put us into look mode, which is pretty cool. So we can actually hit, I think it's P on this guy. Nope. Z. Aha, Z it is. So this is the osprey that's on the map, a small bird of prey with black markings on its eyes. It hunts near bodies of water. It is very fat and enormous overall. His feathers are white, his skin is pale chestnut, and his eyes are black. These are randomly generated, by the way, so anytime any unit, any creature, I'm going to hit escape and press U again to go back into the view. Whenever anything kind of enters or leaves, they have a random look to them. So we can go to this top sturgeon. He's in the river here. You can see him here. Press Z again. It's a large oceanic fish covered with bony plates. He is gigantic. His scales are gray and his eyes are black. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. We'll go back to the first layer by going Shift up. There we go. And if we go actually to Dwarf Therapist again, that's just Dwarf Fortress. Actually, each one of our dwarves has similar descriptions, but they are set into overdrive. So I've moused over Christian, our expedition leader. We'll talk a little bit about him. He is 70 years old. He's 60. That says 69,470 centimeters squared. So that's kind of hard to translate into. So he's a dwarf, right? So he's not gonna be tall. He's a trader. He's the expedition leader. His happiness is fine. Shows you a list of skills that he has, which we set in the embark profile. His highest moodable skill is a craft dwarf. So I'll get into that a bit later, but that's basically the best possible thing he could be. So if I wanted him to excel the most, I would make him a craft dwarf. I'm not going to worry about that too much because you can train skills up, so it's not a problem. Here you go. Here's where the random generation comes into play. The personality. He's prone to hatreds. He doesn't handle stress well. He tends to avoid physical confrontations. So chances are he's actually not going to be good in the military. He's not careful with resources and spends unnecessary effort. But he is somewhat quarrelsome, so he doesn't like physical confrontations, but he's going to talk about you behind your back, perhaps. Christian, is that really how you are, buddy? Christian, do we need to talk about this, buddy? He's quite polite. He tends to ask others for help with difficult decisions. He's not inherently proud of his talents or accomplishments. Wait, is this a male or a female? Oh, it's actually a female. So, Christian, you're a she. Apologize if you're a he. Generally acts with a narrow focus on current activity, tries to do things correctly each time. He has an overbearing personality. Oops. Likes a little excitement every now and then, has an active imagination, sees the whole pursuit of art as silly, but he respects the development of skill. He dreams of crafting a masterwork someday. So there you go. Each character, each dwarf has their own personality. I'm not going to read them all. Ryan, if you want me to look at yours later, we can do that. But there's lots of them. And the things that are colored have to do with actual specific in-game... They have specific in-game interactions, I guess. So things like tends to avoid any physical confrontations might mean he's not physically strong. And other things like that. Each one has its own kind of designation in the game. But we're actually at 20 minutes. I think that's going to do it for this episode. I just wanted to look around a little bit, get a little bit of a feel for our fort and the dwarves in it. I think in the next episode we're actually going to dive into the earth, talk about designations, and get digging. Start making a home and talk about dwarves' primary needs and things like that. I know these first few episodes have been a little slow, but it takes a while to get into this game. This game is for the patient, and so thank you guys for being patient with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you want a dwarf named after you, please let me know in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you had a good time. It's awfully lonely down there. Not only does it help me out with channel views, things like that, but it also helps other people who are interested in Dwarf Fortress find these videos, find these tutorials. So thank you guys for doing that, and thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.